First major summer signing, signed, sealed and delivered in the form of Hadji Malik Diouf. Fantastic news. On to the next one, but who's next? That's the big question. However, it doesn't only apply to incomings at this football club over the summer. It also applies to the outgoings as well. It is crucial that we get our signings right, but I think it's arguably just as important then we get it right when it comes to selling players, who we sell and when we sell them and how much we get for them, because that is going to have a major say on how we can bring players to West Ham United this summer. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and also drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. 1,700 likes on the video a couple of days ago. Ridiculous. But thank you very much for your support. It is much appreciated. So keep clicking the like button. Keep subscribing. Both things are free. Takes 2 seconds. And if you're watching on the telly, just whip your phone out and make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube app. Anyway, I'm going to do my best to explain why I'm not concerned, but I think it's really important we get the next sale in the bag. And if we go back to the very start of the summer, we were told every single day, sell before buy, sell before buy, sell before buy. West Ham must sell before we buy this summer. And I didn't believe it initially. I thought, rubbish, we don't need to do that. We can get on with our business. We might need to balance the books later on in the window. Maybe our net spend will only be 30, 40 million. I thought there'll be money there. We'll be all right. We'll be able to sign players. Shush. Sell before buy. I still didn't believe it. Well, I do now because we didn't sign anyone until we sold Mohammed Kudus. So to continue with my naive outlook of we don't need to sell before we buy, I've got to ignore what is now evidence that's happened. We sold Kudus, immediately we signed Diouf. Right, that's good news. That signing is good news. But that concern of sell before we buy continues. Now, when we sold Kudus, the club basically almost bragged a little bit. All the funds will be going back in to buy players. All that 55 million we've received, we're going to spend it all on bringing players in. Now, of course, this went against what we've been told previously, which was 75% of player sales would be made available to Graham Potter to rebuild the squad this summer. However, and I think this is where the truth is, I think both of those things can be true. What we haven't been told post-selling Kudus is all player sales will go towards bringing in new signings to this football club. It only applied to that Kudus departure. So as far as I'm concerned, 55 million of that is to spend on players. But the next time someone goes out the door, it doesn't apply to that. So if we were to sell Aguerd for 15 million, for example, I have a suspicion only 10 million of that would go into the kitty and the club would claw 5 million back. So 66% would go towards Potter. And my prediction at this point is that over the course of the transfer window between now and its shutting, we may find that we only do spend 75% of the player sales on new signings. Now, with that in mind, obviously we've signed Diouf now, so there should still be roughly 35, 36 million in the kitty for new signings. That's a healthy budget. That's a lot of money for one signing, two signings, and that's it. You get a couple of signings out of that at best, and then you're back to, oh, we now need to sell players before we can buy players. And I don't want us to end up in a situation that we were a couple of weeks ago prior to Kudus leaving, where we have to sit on our hands. We're trying to negotiate deals. We're trying to get new signings in, but ultimately we're stuck because we haven't sold anyone yet. I think it's really important that West Ham get the next player out the door immediately. Now, there's a lot of reports that Emerson isn't in Germany because he's close to leaving or, well, just has a big desire to leave and is likely to leave. That would be good news because we've already replaced him. With Diouf and Skiles next season are options at left back. I wouldn't call Emerson surplus to requirements. That is harsh. He's been a brilliant servant for us, huge part of us winning. Not sure we win the Conference League without him, but he is now someone that we can sell and we don't have to worry about replacing or anything like that. And when you're in that position, that gives you a position of strength to some extent because you can take your time signing him. There's no worry about the replacement. So getting Emerson out the door next, I think, would be ideal. The issue is he's not going to command a huge fee. I've seen 8 million touted around. Let's just take that. Then let's just assume the club decide, oh, let's give Potter 75%. Well, that's 6 billion. It's not loads of money, is it? You're going to buy anyone with that 6 million? Possibly not. Well, maybe the Werder Bremen goalkeeper, Zetterer. You might get him for that 6 million, but you're not going to get much. Therefore, you're still under pressure to get the next one out the door. Of course, you combine Emerson with the leftover kitty and gives you 42 million. Suddenly, it's looking healthy if you want to look at it like that. My point is, it's really important we get the next player out the door. What we cannot do is end up bringing in another player or two more players. That's great. And then here, oh, we must sell before we buy. Because ultimately, we don't have loads of players that we can sell. We've got loads of players we'd like to sell. There's been plenty of players sort of up for sale without being up for sale as such. But no one's come in for them. Our one desirable player in Mohammed Kudus, well, only one club came in for them. We struggled to sell the guy that should be easiest to sell this summer. Aguerd's still there. I'm sort of waiting for something to happen, but nothing's happened at this point. Which, if you want Aguerd to stick around next season, that's good news. But if you do want Aguerd to stay around next season, I kind of get it. I'll talk about individual players in a minute, but someone else has got to leave. Otherwise, before you know it, we're going to have no money left to spend. It's important that we bring in the next signing quickly. But I think it's just as important that we get the next guy out the door so that every time we make a signing, there's still money left over in the kitty. We can move on to transfer target number 3, number 4. What we can't do is bring in the next two and go, right, we're stuck now. Everything's on hold until we get the next guy out. We cannot be in that situation. We just can't. Because in June, the whole, oh, there's ages left, don't panic. That's fair, right? That is fair. It's applicable. It's fair. Think what you want. If you think, oh, there's not long enough, that's okay. My point is, when people say there's plenty of time left, I don't think they're lying. I think there is. There's July and August. There's still 2 months ahead. But the transfer window's getting busy now. Premier League clubs have nearly spent £1 billion between them already. Granted, Liverpool account for a lot of that themselves. But it's about at £1 billion already. Clubs are starting to make big moves now. Most of the clubs have done transfer business, and most of them are doing big transfer business as well. We need to remain, we must retain the ability to be involved in the transfer window and bring in our players, because the last thing we can do is miss out on a target because we couldn't pay for them. We cannot afford that. We're in a position now where we can afford pretty much all of our transfer targets, bar Harvey Elliott. But apart from him, whether it's Mateus Fernandez, whether it's El Canus, whether it's Hermansen, whoever it is, we can afford those players. 2025, we've got the money now. We must always be in a position where the next guy is affordable because we've got the money sat there. And I'm a bit worried that we're going to end up in this whole back to square one. We must sell before we buy. Anyway, I'll tell you one thing that you don't want to be leaving. That's your private details from your mobile phone. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark are a VPN which helps you add a layer of security to your electronic devices which are connected to the internet. It doesn't matter whether it's your own broadband, whether it's public Wi-Fi, the VPN continues to work. It helps just give you that little bit of safety, and it works on all your devices. Plus, you only need one account for unlimited devices. Unlimited devices. One account, unlimited devices. If you go to surfshark.com/HammersChat, or the links in the description below in the pinned comments, we made it easy for you to find it, but surfshark.com/HammersChat, we will give you 4 months free for signing up coming from HammersChat. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So if after 3-4 weeks, 28 days, not 30, within 30 days, you think, I wish I never got this, don't think I need this, don't like it, that's right, you can go get a completely full refund. It's as simple as that. Now, my favorite thing about having a VPN is that you can change the location of your device. So if I wanted to watch something that was in America but wasn't available in the UK, for example, I can go on my phone, I can switch it to make it income in America, then I can access stuff on the internet as if I was in the States. There you go. My phone thinks it's in America, but actually I'm still sat here in rainy Stoke. It's a nice little benefit to having your Surfshark VPN. Links in description below, surfshark.com/HammersChat. Now, the big headline today, David Moyes wants Tomas Soucek for 12 million. I don't really believe it. I believe that Moyes would love Tomas Soucek, but 12 million. Moyes knows how much Soucek's worth, and Moyes knows how much Soucek's worth to West Ham. I think if they came to the table, it wouldn't be 12 million. I think they would come in higher than that. All summer, well, until about a few weeks ago, I was on and I thought, oh yes, I'm not going to lie, maybe April, let's go back 3 months now, April, yeah, sell Soucek, sell Ward-Prowse, sell Alvarez, sell Rodriguez, sell them all, because I was pissed off. I didn't enjoy last season. I think our biggest problem last season, for me, after Lopetegui and David Sullivan, I think was the midfield. I think that was our biggest issue. Playing staff, I think that was our biggest problem. And I still insist that if we fix our midfield this summer, as a team, we improve without doing anything else. If we continue to have Bowen, Somerville and Füllkrug as the strikers, but we improve the midfield, I think they would perform better this season than they did last season. Bad example maybe because Somerville and Füllkrug were out. If we still had Paqueta, Bowen and Kudus as the attackers and we improved the midfield, I think they would improve further up the pitch. So a couple of months ago, I was all for just selling the entire midfield and bringing in an entire midfield. Now, that's not going to happen. But also because of how poor we were last season, I'm scared. I'm scared to sell Tomas Soucek. And I shouldn't be like that. I don't like feeling like this, but I do. Because Tomas Soucek's your get out of jail card. He's your plan B. We need goals, he goes in the team. We're struggling to win games, Soucek goes in the team. We start crossing the ball, he will score. And because of that, I want to keep him. I'd reevaluate in January. And if he's not in the team, brilliant. We can maybe sell him. And there will be teams that are desperate for a goal-scoring midfielder. And they'll pay through the nose for him in January. But for now, it's a no-go. I'm quite confident he doesn't go. But if he were to go, hypothetically, you're talking 20 million plus. I wouldn't be happy with anything like 12 million. As for Nayef Aguerd, he's the one I would like to see go next. Not for 15 million though. I would like a bit more than that, although that's what the rumoured price tag is. West Ham apparently want 20 million. I think he'll go for somewhere in between there. I feel like he's going to go for 15, 16 million or something. The reason I would sell him is because I just don't think he suits the Premier League. I just don't. I don't think the Premier League's the best league for him. And also, when the African Cup of Nations comes round, we're already losing Diouf and Wan-Bissaka. We can't afford, if Aguerd stuck around and became a big part of the team and was a first-team regular for us, we'd be losing 3 first-team players, 3 defenders to that tournament for a month. I don't think you can do that. You can't be in a position where that happens to your squad. 3 players you'll get away with, but not your left wing back, your right wing back, and your left centre back. It's too much. Also, he retains transfer value. Not many other players in the West Ham team do. He's good to sell for PSR. Not many other players in the West Ham team are that. He just makes sense for me to sell. I'm pleased that he's involved in pre-season. I'm pleased he proved that all these stories about him not coming back to training was a load of rubbish leaked by someone with an agenda that was trying to almost assassinate Aguerd's character. I'm pleased that that was all proven incorrect. I didn't do a video about it because I didn't believe it for a second. And I think it's a very dangerous thing to put out there, that player doesn't want to play for your club. And then to be incorrect, I don't like it. So I'm pleased he's involved. I hope he's involved on Saturday because we've got to treat him. We have to treat him with the assumption he's not leaving this summer. Potter has to integrate him into his pre-season plans with the assumption that when we play Sunderland, Aguerd is part of that first team. Whether he plays him or not is up to him. But between now and then, we have to carry on as if Aguerd and everyone else in that team is going nowhere. Edson Alvarez, there's no one coming knocking. Rodriguez has been linked, but 2 million, it's not going to do anything though, is it? 2 million quid is going to do nothing to the transfer kitty. I'm all right with Rodriguez sticking around. I thought he looked okay under Potter. I'm happy for Rodriguez to stay. Irving might be the one player that carries a little bit of weight. 4 or 5 million, signed him for a couple. PSR wise, it's good. It makes sense to shift him for 4 or 5 million. Again, on its own, it's not much, but you combine it with Emerson, then that's maybe one player coming in. trying to think, and I appreciate people right now are screaming Ward-Prowse at the screen. I would like to sell Ward-Prowse. We're just not going to manage. No one's going to take on his wage packet. No one's going to give us a transfer fee that we'd be looking for. And also for PSR, it's actually bad for the club to sell him. That's why last year we had to loan out Maxwell Cornet. For PSR purposes, that's a clever thing to do. Selling him is actually, it has a negative impact on us, despite you selling a player. But because you paid for such a high transfer fee in the first place, you're sort of stuck a little bit. And I think that's where we are, really. Aguerd, Emerson are really the only two players, apart from Paqueta, because West Ham are gagging to sell Lucas Paqueta. Honestly, we are desperate for him to be found innocent so we can slap him up for sale immediately and say, well, he wants to leave. That's been the narrative all along, isn't it? Paqueta wants out, Paqueta wants out. And he might do. Maybe he does want to leave. But if he goes to another Premier League club, I'll be a bit suspicious, because I think, well, if you want to get away from the FA, I 100% understand that. But joining another Premier League club doesn't really do that. You just leave West Ham. I feel like I've got no doubts that Paqueta likes West Ham and he likes his teammates and he likes the fans. I've never ever felt he was desperate to leave, to get out of the club, to take advantage of an opportunity like Manchester City. Sure, but that's a different conversation, isn't it? That's just someone wanting to better himself. What we're getting told is that Paqueta wants out and that we're happy to sell him. We are just gagging to sell him because he's worth a bit of money, isn't he? That's why we are desperate. And if he gets found innocent, hopefully we can cash in and get 30 million for him. And that's, well, probably about 20 million Potter will get to spend. There's just not that many players at West Ham right now worth loads of money that have interest in them and we can offload. Some players will tick two of those boxes. Like Bowen will be worth a lot of money. Bowen would have a lot of interest in him, but we don't want to sell him. And there'll be others like Kilman where we could maybe move him on. He'd probably have interest, but it's just financially, it's just not feasible. No one's going to come in and bid 30 million for Max Kilman. So we're sort of stuck with him a little bit. But I do maintain that it's really important we get the next sale in. Emerson would be good, I suppose, but it's not that much money. I think pressure's on now to get Aguerd out or someone else that carries 15 plus 20 million in transfer fees, because I'm still wary. Like I said, I know they gave it a whole big one. Oh yeah, we're going to give Potter 100% the Kudus money to spend. That may be true, but I still suspect that over the course of the transfer window, he may not get 100% of the money. I don't think we'll sell. We might only get 100 million for players in total. If he's only going to get 3/4 of that and 75 million, and I don't even think we'll get 100 by the way, but 75 million, it's not that much all of a sudden when you consider he's already spent 20 of it on his left wing back. It's important. It's important. But the good thing is, there's still a 36 million left to bring in the next signing, or possibly even two signings, before we're at the cupboard is bare scenario. But whatever we do now, what West Ham do right now, will dictate whether we have a constant flow of cash, which means we can keep bringing players in, or whether we're going to get in a couple more and we're stuck until someone else goes and we're even more desperate and another club comes in from a negotiating stance of power like Spurs did and really drive the price down, whether it be for Emerson or Aguerd or something. We can't allow that to happen. And what we do today will dictate the likelihood of that happening. Anyway, I'm still feeling chilled out, by the way. I feel like I've been a bit grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I'm just saying that I think it's important we sell players. I feel chilled. I feel good. I'm excited. I'm hoping that we can get our next signing in pretty soon, whoever that is. I think I've come down to the idea of it being Mateus Fernandes. I would be, I say long-term subscriber, but as long as you've been here for the last 3 months or something, you'll know I'm a big fan of him. I prefer him to El Kudus, but I like both of them. Get either of them in, I'd be very, very happy. Right, I'm off ski. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a bit of a feeling I know what we're going to be discussing, and I'll catch up with you then. But before you disappear, please do drop a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Get 1,700 likes again. That would be incredible. Subscribe to Ham's Chat. Catch up with you tomorrow. Just to add, because this was kind of the point of the video and I forgot to make it really, if we fail to sell players that we want to sell now, we may find ourselves in a position that come August that actually we're going to have to sell someone we don't want to. And Tomas Soucek may be one of those players.